Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Let's look at the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Here, the major story is talking about the federal government to promoters of the protest. They're saying why you should shelve your protest. Offers to sell 50 kg of rice at 40,000 naira. That's the government saying. Asks students to remain on campus and not go out to protest. National Assembly convenes emergency session tomorrow. EFCC begin probe for sponsors. You find this on page 4. Tinubu signs minimum wage bill. Kidnappers of Sokoto district head, son, brother demand 1 billion naira ransom. Zenith Bank set to raise 290 billion naira capital. Below the headmaster, we see FEC approves sale of crude oil to Dangote and others in naira. Thousands of dollars flown out of Nigeria every hour. That's according to Interpol. Now, Interpol is telling Nigerians what is happening in our country. Subscribers besiege telecoms offices over bad lines. Now, these are some of the stories that you'd find on the Daily Trust newspaper.
All right, now on Vanguard newspaper, on the front page there we have Nigerians have right to peaceful protest. The presidency, as the whole protest is coming up. Now we also have on the top left, barring of phone lines heightens tension amid protest scare. You can find that on page 9 on Vanguard newspaper. Gunmen abduct monarch's son, 5 others kill custom officers in Sokoto. And then we have, it is time to deal with criminality, restore peace in Northwest. That's on the bottom left. Governor Sani is saying that. All of this, you can get them on Vanguard newspaper.
All right, quickly, let's take a look at the Punch. At the top of the page there, Labour excited as Tinubu signs 70,000 naira minimum wage bill. Zenith Bank to raise about 290 billion naira fresh capital. Beside the headmaster there, President orders narrow crude sale marketers project price crash. A major story is talking about the hardship protest. Security agencies begin massive soldiers and police deployment. NPF places operatives on red alert. That's the Nigerian police force. The NCOS fortifies custodial centers. NSCDC deploys 30,000 personnel. Great development there. You find that on page 2. Tinubu means, well, let's give him time to rescue Nigeria. That's according to Tunji Ojo, Minister of Interior. NIN linkage, NCC others same restoration as angry subscribers protest. Keyamo the suspension of NAMA's 800% charge hike. Abuja politicians fueling banditry, says Benue governor. Interesting. 32 arrested for attacking the federal government inspection team. The PSC invites 10,000 new constables for training in August. Now, joining us quickly to dive into this is Dr. Theophilus Abba, the Program Director of Daily Trust Foundation. Good morning, Doctor. It's good to have you.
Good morning.
A lot seems to be happening. I hope we can dive into all of them in just a few minutes.
You just don't do so that you can do. You don't have all the time.
Indeed. Let's talk about federal government to protest. That's what the federal government is saying. Now we see that the National Assembly are going to have a meeting tomorrow, which is super close to the D-Day of this. And there's been a whole lot of concern saying the federal government don't do enough until it has been shoved and chalked, on the neck. What is your take on this?
Well, you are absolutely correct, because I thought that by now, in the last 2 weeks, this process has been in the making for over a month now. Because somebody called me from, somewhere in the UK, I would say, I heard that there's going to be a protest. I said, well, it is still in the rumors environment. We don't know whether it will happen. So the National Assembly members ought to have intervened in this matter before now, in the sense that, look, they are the representatives of the people. If Nigerians are crying, look, there's high cost of this, we cannot breathe, you are the ones representing them. You are the ones who say, okay, what do we do? You are the one who should interface with the federal government. Say, look, some of these policies are not helping us. So you must do something about it. But they have waited until the last minute. It's like they're only representing themselves, not the Nigerian people. Because you ought to have done something before now, but they waited the last minute. And actually, I sympathize with maybe got the government, because this protest is a very complex one, in the sense that some of the demands being made will be difficult to reverse. I don't know.
All right. Well, okay. All right. Sorry for cutting you short, but because of time, let's just combine two stories together. The part of the 800% hike that Keyamo has directed should be shut down, and also the part of the government directing NNPCL to sell fuel to Dangote in Naira. Putting those two together now, what are your takes on those stories?
Now, I think The issue of the Dangote, I mean, the sale of crude oil to Dangote and others, no, it's not only Dangote, you know, that one who's involved in the, I mean, a crude oil business. Maybe you have a refinery and you want to buy crude, instead of buying the crude oil in dollars, you buy in naira. You know,
do we need the president to tell us that?
He's the Minister of Petroleum, actually.
I understand, but do we need an authority to say you should sell to Nigerians in naira?
Well, you see, there are a lot of what fire brigade approaches to issues, and this is one of them. You know, the Dangote, the crude oil issue, you know, came into the open in the last few weeks when we have somebody who has invested some $20 billion on a project, and he said, look, we produce crude oil in Nigeria, you can't access it. You have to queue up like others, you know, like other international buyers of crude oil. So those issues came up. And you see, my own feeling, you know, is an opinion anyway, is that this government does not have intellectual backing for so many policies. That is, people have not sat down to say, okay, we are going into this, what are the implications?
Indeed.
There's what we call system thinking. System thinking is that, look, when you want to carry out a decision, take a decision, you look at the effect on other sectors and say, yes, this is going to happen, that is likely going to happen. How do we mitigate it? Should we still go ahead with issues? But if you are waiting for crisis to come and then you confront one crisis, then you confront another, look, you cannot settle down as a government. Even if it's in the family, you can't.
So this decision, you feel, should have been done way before now?
Is actually, there has to be a plan.
Before would have even started.
We are having local refineries springing up. How should you sell crude oil to them? It's not something that you do when people are protesting, when people are saying no, when Dangote has to go to come out in the open to say, look, these issues are against me.
I agree with you, Doctor, on that one.
So it's totally...
and you basically just put it out there. Government should do more, do things on, put a blueprint at least before, you know, making a decision. But I want to get your take on another controversial talk, saying thousands of dollars are being flown out of Nigeria. And this is Interpol telling us. First of all, we know that thousands of barrels of crude oil are being stolen, taken out of Nigeria, and then right now there is, you know, dollars being flown out of Nigeria every hour, which is currently affecting our naira. What do you have to say to this? Because my head is just spinning.
Let me say, I don't want to call it the failure of the systems, you know, but I say the failure of the people who are managing the systems. You know, we have the NFIU. The NFIU is supposed to monitor transactions. Now, that is whatever money you are sending beyond a certain threshold should be queried. Now, we have the customs, you know, and we have the immigration. The customs are supposed to ask you, you know, how much dollars are you carrying? You understand? And you have to declare these dollars. If you are carrying it in a briefcase, they have to say, this is beyond what you should carry. You cannot. Now, if Interpol is the one telling us that this is happening, it means that those managing the systems are failing us.
Indeed.
Because they are supposed to control, you know, the movement of dollar. Even if you are going to America, you are going with $10,000, more than that. Somebody will ask you some questions. Some young boys at the airport will say, look, gentlemen, you can't enter into a country with so much. What are you doing with it? How did you earn it? But in Nigeria, well, you get to the airport, you want to travel, because there's no way you can move money out of this country, because all our borders are policed. If you did not compromise those at the borders, and if those at the borders did not allow themselves to be compromised, this kind of outflow would not be there. So it's quite unfortunate, you know, because NFI is supposed to say, look, they're supposed to flag a lot of, transactions.
Okay.
If so much money you are taking, let's assume $500 million out of Nigeria. Somebody should ask you questions.
Somebody should ask the questions, indeed. Talking about asking, talk about this insecurity matter. Kidnappers for Sokoto. We heard Sokoto district head, his son and brother were kidnapped. And right now, they're asking for 1 billion naira. I thought we have moved past the stage of insecurity matters. We saw the news of yesterday coming from Zamfara, where the government are saying, or police in the police command of Zamfara State saying there is an allegation placed upon, I think, someone from the AP, someone from the representative, member of the state, lawmaker. I think even district heads, not one, but multiple, part of the kidnapping, plans. What is your take on the insecurity and how it has really affected us as a country? And even though there seem to be a lot of we are getting somewhere, we seem to be drawn back. That
my own feeling is that we are not getting somewhere the way we ought to get. For instance, who talks about 1 billion? It's not Theophilus Saba. You understand? Those who talk about 1 billion are those who know what to do with 1 billion naira. You understand? I have never imagined 1 billion because I don't even have access to it. I never imagined it. So you see, this kind of persons who will say, okay, bring 1 billion, they are high-profile people. They are people who are not looking for money to buy biscuit. They are not people who are looking for money to buy lunch for themselves. They are people who are looking for a whole lot of money. So this is a high level, a crime that's committed at the highest level. Like the story of Zamfara yesterday, and that was not the first time actually. Other high power, very important Nigerians, high level political forces, names have been mentioned with regard to kidnapping and banditry in Zamfara state. They've mentioned names. This one you're talking of a district head, local government chairman, and a lawmaker. You understand? All of them and some other persons, others are talking about even some former governors being involved in all this.
Well, nobody is being persecuted.
Yes, but the issue is that this is not the first time. Even when Matawale was governor, I remember that an emir had to be removed. Then there was an emir who was crowning a bandit leader, a known bandit leader, making him giving some traditional title. So you see, we have to enforce the law. Now, if these people are not grabbed,
we're
made to face the law, this will continue.
Saying, there's Abuja politician falling banditry. This is a recent claim from the Benue
because you see,
government.
for banditry to succeed, let's face the fact. For banditry to succeed, it means that security agencies are rendered incapable of acting.
All right.
No, being rendered incapable does not mean that they don't have the weapons. But somebody will tell them, please, don't go there.
Don't go there. We don't have time, but I want 30 seconds of this. Subscribers besiege telecoms offices. There's been a bit of allegation saying it's because the government wants to stop the protest. That was why there was blockage of SIM. What is your take? Quickly.
Well, I think the government has not convinced her that was not what happened. Because because if you see yesterday, many lines were blocked. Yes. Were blocked, and the excuse they gave was that.
But the FCC came out. We know they represent the government body.
Well, they came out. We don't know at what level decisions were taken, and maybe because if you do that, it can even worsen the protest. You understand? If you say, okay, lights are low, people are say, okay, so you can't even communicate with the people. Indeed. And I'm feeling that you see, government, they have made a lot of mistakes. Let me. That is my own opinion anyway. Because number one, you can't remove subsidy and then devalue the naira, and then you can't even go back. Because if you want to restore subsidy, for you to restore subsidy and make it meaningful, it means that you have to revalue the naira.
Indeed.
That means that naira has to go back to what it was. Because even if you remove subsidy and you don't revalue the naira, you can still not buy the fuel at the rate we are supposed to buy the fuel. So
Absolutely.
It's a whole lot of confusion that we have found ourselves.
Indeed.
And I just pray that we can get out of it.
Indeed.
This protest just like saying, okay, we are not happy. It may not be the solution to it.
To be done.
It should be allowed to happen.
Thank you so much, Dr. Theophilus, for joining us. As usual, it's always a pleasure talking to you. All right, that was Dr. Theophilus. I'm a program director of Daily Trust Foundation. Appreciate you for sitting with us all through 2 hours to discuss what is happening in our country. Please do stick around. Top of the hour, Adeni Ajishafe will bring you 360 Sports. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Do have a lovely Tuesday.
And I am Lilian Agazi. Do have a great day ahead.